Reluctant leaders tend to make better leaders. Hello, 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 and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jameelah, and I am a master manifestor, and I'm sure you are too, because you are consuming content like this. Like I'm going to sneeze. The name of this channel is Holistic Manifesting because I believe in a whole body, whole mind, and whole being experience when it comes to manifesting these amazing lives that we are choosing to live. What I am discussing in this video is leadership and how reluctant leaders tend to make better leaders. Now, I will say this. I did all 4 of my videos back to back to back, and I did not check the audio before I started, did a 1 2 1 2, and the mic wasn't turned on. And it was so disappointing to finish 4 videos and say, oh yeah, that was a good idea. I never thought of that. And now you can't remember what it was. And there was no audio. So just know that this may not be as spectacular as the original video was. I don't know. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Nonetheless, when I think about, it takes a lot of energy to do this too, because you're like, I already did this, but it doesn't matter. You didn't do it right. You got to do it over. When I think about how reluctant leaders make a better leader, it's because I've been in so many environments, whether it's a family environment, a work environment, a friendship, a relationship, even if it's with your business or something like that. When you come in contact with people who are hell bent on being the leader in those spaces, it's generally going to be not out of the idea of, I want everyone else to be lifted up. I want everyone else to gain something. I want everyone else to win. Normally when people are dying to be in a leadership position, it's generally because they are looking at leadership as some aspect of their personality, and it's almost like an ego fulfillment, right? So when I say reluctant leaders make better leaders, is because when people are reluctant to be in that leadership space, it's because 9 times out of 10, they've looked around and they've saw the talent and the skill sets of everyone, and they've saw what everyone has to offer. And they were just like, I really have a lot to offer there, and I really can move this thing forward, but I don't really want to be in that space because it comes with drama. It comes with a lot of conversations, a lot of meetings, or whatever it is that they're trying to avoid, right? They may be introverted like me, can see themselves as a good leader in many spaces, but doesn't necessarily want to take on a role. Those types of people usually make way better leaders because they're actually in it for the advancement of the group, the advancement of the environment. When it comes to people who are hell-bent on being leaders no matter what, whether they have the talent, the skill set, and they don't necessarily know how to delegate well, it has nothing to do with moving the environment forward. They're worried about how does everything make them look? How does everything make them feel? What position will they be in? What can they gain from the leadership position? And what people don't understand about leadership too, what I noticed that reluctant leaders seem to understand very well, is that leadership is a service job. It is a job where you serve those around you. It is not a job where you get to dictate to everyone how everything should go, no matter what their feelings are about it or how they how it impacts them. Even if I've been in like friendships or relationships, I think in friendships it's got to be a little bit worse because, I wouldn't say worse, because sometimes if you're a person that has natural confidence and you might be quiet about it, or you have natural leadership abilities, but you're just quiet about it because it's just not a role that you want to play. I found myself in this position a lot as I was growing up. I would always attract people who wanted to have that level of ease and effortlessness as far as leadership and confidence goes and being okay with themselves, kind of. But the funny part about it was that I would be in their space and they would have this automatic desire to try to boss me around or push me into things or bully me into things. And I'm just like, you gotta know one big aspect of being an actual good leader. You gotta know when you run into people who do not need to be directed every 5 seconds. That's one of the biggest things that I've seen in people who are in leadership positions and maybe they shouldn't be, or maybe, it's not for the right reasons. They don't really know how to determine the different aspects of people's personalities. They got this thing where they try to treat everybody the same. They try to approach everything the same way. And everything is hinged upon how does it make them look and feel at the end of the day, and not whether or not it's best for the environment, and not whether or not it's taking the environment to the next level. And generally, people that are hell-bent on leadership, they don't really have a structure or a goal in their leadership. It's just because I should be in charge, because mostly out of fear. I don't want some decision to be made that I don't agree with. I don't want to get caught up in anything that may not work out for me well. I don't want to be, in a negative spot or something like that. That's generally how people approach poor leadership. What I find with reluctant leaders is that they're very good at delegating tasks and knowing when to call other people in and then being okay with that. When a lot of people who are in leadership and probably shouldn't be in leadership positions, they feel intimidated and they lack confidence when a person has a true talent and true confidence and true ability. Even if it's a relationship, say it's a relationship with a man and a woman, whatever, and you get to the point where this woman is a natural leader in certain areas, she's naturally gifted in certain spaces, she's naturally talented, it really decreases the value of the whole entire group if she's paired with someone who doesn't see that and is not able to say, let me step back in this particular area because she's way more advanced in that area, or vice versa. Let me step back in this particular area because he understands these things better than me, right? I've said in the past that I've dealt with people who are really good at finances, and I learned a lot from them in the way they dealt with their finances, because I was like, that's not a place where I need to step in or lead or have a big conversation about, because it's not something that I'm really, really on top of. Now, because I'm a lifelong learner, I'm really good at these kind of, I pay attention. I understand it to a certain degree, even though it's not perfect, but I understand it a lot better than what I did a while ago. So we have to know these areas. And when you are reluctant to lead, I find that that's when you find these reluctant leaders, I find that that's when the leadership is happening for the right reasons. It's not happening because someone thinks they just should have it, or they should be in a space, or they're the right gender, or they're the right age, or they're the right race or ethnicity or something. They know that none of those things actually matters. When it comes down to what is the overall goal, what is the mission, what is the ultimate outcome that we're looking for in this environment, we have to be willing to say, well, this is what this person has to bring. This is what this person has to bring. And when people are just hell bent on leading no matter what, that means that it's going to go right down into the tubes, because we all can't be great at everything at all times. And the best thing that really good leaders are really capable of is being able to delegate things. And the coolest part about it is that when leaders are able to step back and say, no, you got this thing because you see it a different way than I do. And that's okay. They don't get jealous. They don't get intimidated. They just know you see it in a different way than I do. And that's okay. It makes them look 10 times bigger than what they already were. But when they try to smother that person's talent, and when they try to take away the delegation because it makes them feel intimidated, or it makes them feel less confident, or it makes them feel like they're not, a specific idea of themselves that they had, then they look really small. So when they're able to say, you got this, you can handle this part, you can handle this part, you can handle that part. And so everything doesn't have to be, I sign off on it. I can have to do it all. I have to make the decisions on it. People see you as way bigger. And people don't really understand that. It's like, if we can pay attention to that small voice that starts to pop in and try to make us control things so we can look like we know what we're talking about, we know what we're doing. I used to do this in the classroom all the time. Teaching, we have the internet now. It was different. Okay, the internet wasn't as used the way it is now. When I first started teaching, I started teaching at 25 years old in the college. And when I first started, you were a lot of the information. Like, they didn't have the information until you brought them the books and you gave them the videos and all that. As time went on, I saw it change over time, where students were way more knowledgeable. And I knew that if I tried to stand up there and act like I was the most knowledgeable just because I was leading the class, that these students were going to see straight through it in 5 minutes. And it's not even my personality. So whenever a student would say something and they happen to be right about it, and I'm like, oh yeah, you know what? That might be true. I was like, we can go ahead and look that up. We can go ahead and check that out. I never stood there like it couldn't possibly be, because it wasn't in my brain. Like, I'm in charge and I'm in front of this classroom. You don't know how many classes I've taken with people to where you challenge one little thing that they are saying and they just crumble and feel less confident and start almost attacking you and unloading a bunch of information that nobody asked for, just to try to cover up this one little thing that they didn't know. And I'm like, that approach, you think it's making you feel bigger, it's making your ego feel bigger, but it's making you look 10 times smaller to everybody in the room, and everyone can see it. What I found, reluctant leaders, they're always able to step back because leading is not the most important thing to them. The mission, the goal, the vision, that's what's most important to them. And how they look in that, they already know it's going to come out okay because they know how to put the right people in the right places, and other people's confidence and other people's talents and skill sets do not make them feel less of a leader than what they know they already are. Anyway, why reluctant leaders make better leaders all day, every day. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day.